Can you please give us a recap here in almost a bullet point, succinct way on just the reasons they're good again, so we can wrap this topic up nicely?
Yeah. So decentralization is...
So what is decentralization good for?
So decentralization is good for security, especially, and that's why Bitcoin has a lot of nodes, because it creates ways for people to create checks and balances against each other to make sure they're telling the truth. It lowers dependency costs in the system. So if one part of the system goes down, the other parts still work. So if one Bitcoin node goes offline, the other ones are still there. So that makes it more secure. It creates efficiency at the local level. So, if you can pass decision-making down to the people who are closest to the problem, then they're going to make a better decision than if you have like a top-down. If you're bottoms up instead of top-down, you're going to get better results. And that's, market capitalism is a good example of that. It improves innovation as well at the local level, because you're now pushing those decisions down to the local level. It gives voice to people who are close to the problem. And it also protects minority opinions inside of the subsystems. And, if you have a system that is very secure for individuals on the individual level, that can prevent them from being censored or other types of problems, then those minority voices who sometimes get discriminated against have much stronger protection. And from financial repression, for instance. So that's decentralization. And then on the other side of the coin, centralization, like, what is that good for? Well, it lowers cost a lot. So, ACH payments in the US are free, and Bitcoin payment is $10 on transaction fees. It also creates efficiency at the macro level. So if you have a big problem that needs to be solved really quickly, like, hey, we have to prepare for a war. If you have some sort of centralized authority, like the president, who can then line everybody up and get people moving in the right direction very, very quickly, that's important, because sometimes you don't have enough time to wait for the answer to bubble up. You just need to make a decision. It improves innovation at the macro level, and that goes along with the efficiency at the macro level. And then it also can protect different subsystems from each other. So it's not really good at protecting individual rights so much, but it is better at protecting group rights, and like when you aggregate those up. So like the representatives, for instance, are able to protect the rights of their specific groups. So I would say like voting rights are a good example here. It's like ensuring standards across the system. So in the US, as another example, we have like federal rules around voting that mean that voting has to be at least as good as this, or you could have federal standards for regulations around aircraft and airlines so that they have a certain level of safety. So that's at the macro level. So that's what you get between those two. Yeah. And if you build a good system, it's going to be balanced, where you're going to have decentralized decision making at the local level, and then you're still going to allow macro decisions to be made very quickly when you need to, specifically in times of crisis.
You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the metaverse.